like in Crooked Tongue at the moment? Because obviously it's fair to say, I mean, we're at what? We're nearing the end of September, so you know you can kind of wrap up the year, so to speak. And it's been a solid year so far for you guys. So what's the mood like?
Yeah, I think it's one of excitement at the moment because we've got some songs that we're sitting on, and the recent release, Nothing Ever Grows, it just came out. It's been going down really well. So I think we're kind of just looking forward to the next like set of releases really, and getting some momentum going again because it's been before this release, it's been over a year since we released our
Hmm.
second EP. So we were just kind of itching to get some more music out to people again. Um, and then we've got the tour in October, so that should be
Of
good.
course.
Mm,
Interesting use of the word momentum. Of course, it's so damn important, and it
yeah,
doesn't take much for that to kind of disappear as well these days.
definitely.
And of course, obviously, the latest single is a major part of that driving force right now. Nothing ever grows. Great response. Are you pleased, with the kind of reaction to it?
Yeah, it's been really as far as like organic kind of social media, as annoying as that is now, people have been sharing it left, right, and center, so it's been really good. And people seem to really like it, so that's always nice.
It's arguable that's one of the most important things of all. I mean, obviously, first, that you yourself like it, but obviously,
Yeah,
second, other people like it.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, as you said, it doesn't take much. Pay attention to your social media, and you can see that you are constantly moving forward. And already, as you said, there's loads of plans in place. It looks like it's very exciting, not just the rest of this year, but into 2025 for you. All of
Mm.
this, particularly these days, takes a lot of drive, a lot of willingness to kind of push yourself forward constantly. Where amongst you does that drive come from, and how do you keep the excitement going?
That's a good question. Um, I think personally for me, it's just like I don't really want to do anything else in terms of like if I could just do music all day, every day, I would do that because I just love it
Yeah.
so much. I think the lads feel kind of the same way. But for me as a writer, I'm always writing stuff and even stuff not for this project, just little bits here and there, and do some writing with my brother and stuff. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. It's really enjoy it. So I can't imagine
You,
not doing it. Even when you feel like you can't be bothered, or it's not going as well as it did at a different time. You just have to keep cracking on, really.
I'd imagine. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'd imagine you're more than aware of the simple fact that there are plenty of times where it's going to feel like it's not going anywhere.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
definitely.
just push through. You just push through, right?
Definitely, because there's always a next thing that's like, oh, that was really good, or like a big opportunity, or a big feature, or big radio play, or a big gig. Do you know what I mean? Always, you think it's not going to come around, and it does. But you go in these little lulls of, it's been a while since another big thing, and then another one comes along. So you just have to stay positive and, like you say, keep pushing forward.
Well, speaking of big things, you already mentioned about the October tour, starting in London and Knife, hitting Cardiff, Bournemouth, Brighton, and ending in Bristol on the 13th. I don't think I think that's it, isn't it? There's no, you haven't added
Yeah.
anything extra since
No,
I
no,
last looked.
that's it for now because we just come off tour with Kid Brunswick
Of course.
last month, so. We're not really doing, apart from Bristol, we're not really doing any of the places we did on that tour. But I think in the new year we've got a lot of things planned in terms of gigging. Um, but for now, it's just kind of this will probably be the last like run of dates for us. Other than we're playing with the Lucas State in November in Birmingham and Bristol, so that should be good at the O2.
Mm.
Um, and that's really it's kind of just gigs sparingly, and we're working on getting the new stuff ready to go, the music.
But if a nice offer, a good offer came your way, you wouldn't turn it down, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Always ready to go.
For those who've never experienced a Crooked Tongue live show, sum it up from your perspective.
Um, well, I always think it's nice to be able to form a connection with the crowd and stuff and have them participating, even if it's not like so obvious, even if it's just like a vibe. So we kind of are quite energetic and um yeah, we like to get the crowd kind of moving about. Um but yeah, that's kind of it. It's classic old rock performance. It's no frills, it's just you know
Good
what you're gonna
times.
mm,
That's all we need, particularly this day and age. Those couple of hours of distraction at a show, we can just have a good time and be in a moment with the band and other people. And you can find like live footage of your shows and stuff like that, and see that generally seems to be the response. People seem to absolutely have a great, great time there. Um, we're going back to the single, Nothing Ever Grows. Obviously, it's the latest one, so we kind of want to focus on a little bit, specifically at this point, and the fact that it's following on from the EP. What was the vision behind this track, in particular, showcasing your growth?
yeah. So I think in terms of if you just talk about the production side of things, it's a massive step up, I think, because now with Josh, our producer, we've kind of formed this bond at this stage now after a year or so of working together, or a
Yeah.
couple of years working together now. And at this point now, it's kind of like clockwork. It just kind of materializes fast, and he knows what we want, and it's sounding the best I think we've sounded. It's just kind of been progressing that way. But in terms of
Mm,
songwriting, this was one. I had the I had the song kind of written, or mostly verses, and then me and Harry had to do a gig as a two-piece when we supported the Virgin Marys because Dan wasn't around. Um, and Sean, our backup guitarist, wasn't about either, so we had to do a two-piece. And we went into rehearsal, and
unique.
I got this song, started playing it. I was like teaching him it, and then it didn't really have a chorus, and we were jamming, and then I came up with the chorus, and then I was like, right, this is cool as a two-piece. So if you listen to the song, there's not really too many like extra guitar bits or anything. It kind of just backs the bass because it's a two-piece song really, but raw bloodish. So um yeah, I don't know, it came together really fast and I think it's one of my favorites now.
Happy accident, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah, definitely.
But also, I mean, what hell of a learning experience. Is there creating that track and the fact that it turned out the way it did and that it's been very popular? Has have you kind of taken elements from that and thought, okay, we're going to use this going forward as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think in terms of because we did some of the tour with Kid Brunswick as a two as well.
Yeah,
And it does change the way you think of how you're playing stuff, and you can see what songs work and which ones don't. Because obviously the ones that have the catchy guitar parts aren't going to be as translatable, but we've got enough songs now where you can kind of make them a bit more punky or a bit heavier. And I think going forward, it's kind of changed my outlook on that because I'm trying to figure out how, if we needed to, we could take parts out and if it would still work as a good rock song or not. Um, so I think yeah, it's been cool.
that's a new challenge completely, finding
Yeah,
ways to remove things.
yeah, yeah. But it's kind of fun. It's like
Yeah.
mad scientist mode.
Um, talk to me then about the kind of creative location that you find yourself in right now. And I guess this is kind of looking ahead, talking about what will come next more than anything else. Do you think you're in quite a fruitful and focused location right now?
Yeah, I think so. At the minute, I've just been taking every chance I get to write stuff, even if it's not for the band, if it's for my own stuff, or if it's for other people, or
Hmm.
um, yeah, I've just been trying to because it's all gonna contribute to the pot, isn't it? If I'm even if it's nothing to do with rock or this band, it's still gonna help me work that writing muscle. So I've just been kind of writing all kinds of things.
Well, I've got
So
to dig a little bit into that. So let's try and sum up a day, a standard day in your life. So, where you've got nothing going on work-wise, real life-wise, and so on. You're at home, you're chilled out, you wake up, um, and you are feeling quite creative. What is it? Notepads around the place? Is it just walking around and waiting for something to spark? What's going on?
it's mostly, um, I mean, I wish I could say I still use a notepad, but I just use my notes on my phone now. It's just so quick and the
Obviously,
lyrics
yeah.
and stuff. And but normally I always write song titles down in my notes, and just if it sounds like a cool song title, I'll have it there, and then I'll come back and then I'll write a song around that title and make the meaning fit the title of the song. Not always, but that's a lot of the time how I do it. But it's kind of just messing around with riffs and melodies and stuff, and then doing the lyrics afterwards. Yeah, it's not a super taxing process for me, really. I don't find it like there's obviously days where like, oh, nothing's happening today, but you just have to push through. I think a lot of people, especially young songwriters, and I kind of learned this from when I was at university, is you can get into a rut of being like, oh, I'm just not going to write anything at the moment. But if you just carry on doing it and making yourself push through that little barrier, you'll come up with something, even if it's just an idea that you come back to in months' time. But yeah.
Well, what sparks your inspiration? Is it can it be literally anything?
Yeah, I think well it could just be like have an idea pop into your head and you just kind of hum it and you're like that could be cool and then you just I've got like thousands it's ridiculous my voice notes of just like me singing terribly into my mic or humming stuff and I'm like oh listening back to some of them I'm like what on earth and I'm like doing the drum parts and everything and it just sounds ridiculous um but like they're always good to have because you go oh, actually there's something in that and then you do a proper recording of it then on your voice notes with your guitar or your bass or piano or whatever. Um, but yeah, just loads of little bits of the puzzle.
You could have 50, as you say, 50 dodgy voice notes, but one out of those 50 ends up being special, and suddenly,
Yeah,
without long term, it becomes an actual release song.
yeah, definitely.
Speaking about Crooked Tongue specifically, then, is the overall vision for what you want to do going forward within that entity quite clear for you right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think with these having recorded these latest tunes, I think we kind of are just pushing to be as busy as possible in the new year, and um, we want to go to Europe hopefully in the new year as well. Because we went to Finland and Estonia last summer, so we want to go back there again and maybe like Germany and those kind of places and put a string of dates together that's branching out of the UK because we've done quite a lot of gigs in the UK over the last year. And obviously, you've got to do that because that's where our fan base is mostly. But
You also don't want to oversaturate things
no, exactly, yeah. Playing too often and it makes the gigs less special if you're always
around.
playing the same places, yeah.
I get that. I get that. Well, is it fair to say that getting to Europe next year is the top of your realistic goals you'd like to achieve, or is there something else you'd like to kind of get done for next year too?
I think in terms of that, I think that it's fairly realistic for us to do because we've already been kind of planning the idea. Um, especially in terms of the festival scene and that I think it would be feasible. But I think it's just us trying to get the big tour supports next year, like the Kid Brunswick ones and that, and runs of dates where we can show full rooms of like big rooms of people that who we are and hopefully grab
Yeah.
new fans that way because that's really what it's all about.
Well, going back to the Kid Brunswick tour, then, any particular standout memories of that period that really just absolutely you just loved, you just enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing was amazing, but
Good.
the first night in Leeds was unreal. It was just like so pumping at the Key Club. It was just amazing. I don't know, like Stoke was really good, and it was like, of course, raining as the trope goes. But it was just everyone was really receptive. It was wicked. It was a great venue. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was just the whole thing was memorable to say the least.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it was such a good time and that you can reflect it in such a positive way. Um, of course, being in a band these days, it's way more than just making and releasing music. You know this. You are your own social media manager, so to speak. You have to do all your own promotion and everything that comes with that. It is incredibly challenging, too much for some bands and artists. From that side of things, the boring side of things, what do you find particularly challenging? And do you have kind of a plan to try and overcome it?
Yeah, it's just I think it's especially it just seems to get more and more saturated social media. So like your fans don't even see half the things you post, and they would be interacting with posts, but they don't even see it anymore. So it's trying to navigate the kind of the algorithm so that you get seen on there now, and it's a shame it's like that because like back before social media, if you had a fan base, they would always be listening and hearing out for where your stuff was going and what you were doing. But you have to
Yeah.
work 10 times as hard now to get people to even see what you're doing. So it is difficult and it is disheartening. That's why loads of musician friends that I know and they just kind of can't be bothered with it anymore and have
Yeah.
given up. But it's just like they feel like there's no point in doing it and it's less about the art and more about the business side of things now. And that's not
Mm.
really your job as a shouldn't be your job as a musician. You should just be playing music that's and it hopefully if you're good enough, people will come and listen. But now you've got to, be a snake oil salesman as well. But, you know, that's kind of the way it is.
It is. I know there is no solution to that. Are you good? Are you good at it? And you know what I mean by it, as in, are you good at dancing around this algorithm?
Um, yes, and kind of I don't know. We're not really
Mm.
like we're not a TikTok band, you know what I mean? We're not doing all that stuff that's on TikTok but maybe we should be, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because those seems to be the kind of things. But just part of me can't bring myself to do it in terms of integrity wise. It's difficult, but then you've got to do things like that, haven't you? I don't know. It's a minefield. But we're pretty good at creating a good social media profile on all the things. Everything looks good, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
That's it. You don't know. I don't know. I really wish whoever comes up with a general viable solution for navigating not just one, but all social media platforms to the best of the
Mm.
ability will make a lot of money. But then in 6 months' time, the algorithm will change and it'll all be pointless anyway.
Yeah,
It's the
true.
most
Very
maddening
true.
thing. But still sticking to that side of things, being good is one thing, enjoying it is another. Do you enjoy being not just a presence from the band perspective, because of course that's part and parcel of the job, but from a personal perspective? Basically, do you like social media?
No.
Mm.
I think if it wasn't for having to be on there these days, I would happily switch it off and not use it. And I miss the days of everyone just being able to text each other, and that was it, really. And MSN, that was when I was a kid.
You're
Um,
aging yourself with that one.
and but I don't know, like it used to be a thing where you could just connect with your friends and stuff, and then you would talk to meet somewhere, or you would talk occasionally. But now it's like because everything's on your phone people are just so addicted to their phones now. It's like a virus almost. So you've got everything in one place. So why do you need to put your phone down? So it's different. That's why it's so hard now as well. Trying to keep people's attention on the reels when you post a music video or something because they're just like that. Like if it's not catching them straight away, if it's not a meme or something stupid or something that's like eye-catching for their brain, you've you've lost them straight away. So it's difficult. But I think
which
we've got to
uh,
get better at that probably.
which as a band, of course, trying to even create eye-catching, memorable content that is just snippets broken down of your music. It's very, very difficult. It's almost
Yeah.
unfair. You create a 3.5 minute song that, has verses, choruses, bridges, and is an entire telling a story, and then you have to break it down to 30-second segments. Of course, that's
Yeah.
never going to have the impact.
No, definitely. It's
What
insane.
about What about stat watching though? And I come from this more from like, the music side of things. Are you able to kind of detach yourself from becoming obsessive about statistics, streaming numbers, views, and so on?
Yes and no. I think it's difficult when you first release a song, especially, and if you have a low period, you're always like, oh no, it's dying off now, and you're like, how do we keep the momentum going? But we've always done pretty well in terms of streaming. Um, so I think part of that doesn't help because you're always comparing yourself to the big numbers you've got and stuff. So if a song comes out and it doesn't hit the right playlist or the right algorithm, and then it's not doing as well as the others, you're like, oh, you feel like you've wasted the release, and it might be your favorite song you've done or the best song
Yeah.
you've. So, but yeah, it's not healthy to keep looking either because it all adds up. It's not a one and done thing, is it? A release, it's all about how it comes together. And you could release 10 songs, and then on the 10th one, that's when all your fans come in and go back and listen to your other ones. So we've noticed with this release, we did I don't know if you saw the Sparks album. We did a feature on that for the
Yeah.
anniversary, and that's obviously more difficult to promote because it's not really your release. It's just you're just featured as an artist. But I've noticed after this song, people have been going back and listening to that. So,
Mm.
it's always going to help out a little bit.
I wonder if that's kind of it's coming up in like a recommended for you because you like that
Yeah.
song, that you like this.
Yeah, could be.
When we kind of talk to artists and bands who have full albums, one of the kind of questions that sometimes comes up is about tracks from the album post-release that perhaps have done better than they necessarily were expected to do at the first. E.g., they may not have been the band or artist's favorite, but they've been
Yeah,
surprised by the numbers at the end. And that seems to always happen when there's always a
yeah,
track from a release that's just like, oh, I didn't expect that to blow up.
yeah. That literally just happened with last EP with Backseat Therapy. Like, I thought that one wasn't going to be the biggest one, and it was. It's weird.
It's fantastic still, regardless that any tracks get that amount of love.
Yeah,
But here's the thing, like numbers and likes and all of that mean nothing. Ultimately, it's who comes to your shows as much as anything. It's who approaches you and says, hey, that I really enjoyed that, or that meant something to me, and so on and so forth. And across the world, not just the country, but this country, but across the world, there are many different people from all walks of life who enjoy what Crooked Tongue do. Are you, in your mind, able to sum up what you think makes Crooked Tongue so appealing to so many different people?
um, that's a good question. I think I think it's a mixture of it's something a bit new, but also it's not. It's a bit of the classic nature of alt rock that is kind of dying off a little bit, I think. I don't think alt rock is as thriving as it was like 5 years ago. I think a lot of bands have changed their soundscape, and um, I don't know. A lot of it seems to be going towards more towards the kind of electronica vibe, which is fine because obviously bands have to adapt. But I think people still miss just riffs, drums, guitar, vocal. There's no frills. Um, yeah, you can't really go wrong with that.
What a great summation. You just nailed it. I kind of jumped out of my seat there because when I now see a release that says alternative rock, I generally no longer really know what the hell I'm going to get with
Yeah,
that, whereas before I once did.
yeah,
Um, Either way, the future is looking really exciting. It's really interesting to see what's going to come next. Cannot wait to see not just what happens at the end of this year with the tour and obviously the releases in the 2025 and the potential of going further afield and just getting the name out there. Before we wrap this up, Ollie, we have a section at the end where this is Ozzy Osbourne, and in his head are random cards of everything and anything, including many submissions from bands and artists that we've spoken to over the years who have offered their own questions. What I do now is just pull some out at random.
cool.
Okay, right, let it get one out, and this is all right. The world is going to end in 24 hours. What are you doing?
Oh, well, that's insane, isn't it? Actually, when you think about it. What are you doing? I guess you got to spend your time with your family, but you got to do something, haven't you? You got to go
You've
somewhere.
got 24 hours, right? So you got plenty of oh, not plenty of time, but you got some time.
Yeah, there's a bit of time. Well, there's a loaded question. We could be playing a sick gig. That could be a good way to go out as the nuke drops, final note hits. That would be insane. Um, yeah, that would do.
That'll do. A party regardless, but just a gig.
Yeah,
Amazing.
big old
Okay,
G.
who do you think would play you in a movie or show about your life? Or who could play you?
Oh, um, I'm trying to think of the people I always get told I look like,
Hmm.
but um, I don't think it's actors normally, it's like other musicians.
Well, the likes of Justin Timberlake and all that transition to from music to movies. So it's
That's true.
yeah.
Um, it'd be funny if it was like someone really random, wouldn't it? Like Hugh Jackman.
Like it. Excellent. Yeah, I can see it as well. So why the hell not? Yeah, Hugh Jackman. Oh, and he can sing. Well, yeah, Hugh Jackman can
Oh yeah,
sing
actually, yeah,
pretty
great
well.
show. Perfect. Yeah, stick a wig on
Okay, next one. What is something that never fails to make you smile?
him. Hmm, a good joke. I like a
Yeah.
good joke. Yeah, a dark joke normally, bit of
A
dark humor.
dark joke. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
when you're not supposed to laugh, I do.
All right, next one. Tea or coffee?
Tea all
Yeah.
day.
What kind of tea? Heavy in the milk, lots of sugar, that kind of thing?
No sugar, bit of milk. Yeah, standard.
Actually, this is a very British one then. Tea bag in or out?
Out, but in. I'll put it. It's in when the milk goes in, and then out.
Fair enough. Okay. What is the name of the last book you read?
Oh, do you know what? I haven't read a book in a while. Um,
Okay, let's flip that then. Because let's flip that. If you can't quite remember one, what about a book that you go back to all the time that you've reread over and over again?
um, yeah. There's a. My brother bought me this Nirvana, like kind of um history kind of book on them that I always look into because it's interesting.
Hmm.
Mm. And
Okay,
that's
cool.
so it's just kind of documents little parts and little snippets of his writing and stuff and little his ideas of like his little snippets of his notepad and ideas of him crossing out lyrics and stuff. That was really good. So I
Quite
was looking,
inspirational by the sound of it.
yeah, it's good to refer to, yeah.
Okay, name one band or artist you'd one day like to tour with. Could be from any walk of life, I think.
Oh, um, I think we always as a band would say highly suspect because they're like one of our kind of inspirations in terms
Yeah.
of how we sound and stuff. And I think that would be amazing.
Oh yeah, that would be a hell of a show, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Okay, what is your go-to McDonald's order?
Oh, but you know what? It used to be the Chicken Legend. That was
Okay.
that was the boy, and then they got rid of it.
Oh,
I don't
did
know why.
they?
Yeah, they don't have it anymore. So it's pretty. I don't know. It's a pretty sad landscape for McDonald's now. Every time I get it, I'm like, yeah, I fancy it, and then I'm like, oh, that was crap every time. But I guess I don't know. What's it called? The McSpicy, the chicken thing. That's quite nice. Yeah.
You can tell I've not been to McDonald's in a while. What the hell is it? It's chicken, McSpicy. All right,
Yeah.
spicy chicken
Yeah.
sandwich.
It's
Yeah,
just
okay.
yeah. It's kind of just like a McChicken that's spicy.
Fair enough. Okay, what is a useless talent you have?
Um, I started learning to. I guess it's not useless. I started learning to pick locks last Christmas. I've got a little lock pick thing. And I was like, I was bored and I was at home for Christmas, and I started learning to do that. So there you go. I've got a little lock pick thing in my wallet. I guess that's not useless, but
I mean, for argument's sake, it is because you're not supposed to be able to do anything with that.
very
But
true.
goodness
Yeah,
me, that's incredible. Ollie, the
yeah,
master of unlocking.
yeah.
Okay, second last one. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Um, I've got to say Velociraptor, haven't I? Because we've got a song called Velociraptor.
Oh, of
So
course you do. Yes,
gotta
of
be.
course. Amazing. And last but not least, what is a current trend that you would like to see disappear completely?
Um, A lot of them kind of do now, don't they? Like that demure
Mm.
thing that was around for a week and then disappeared. Um, I don't know. I think it'd be nice if people spent more time in the real world and chasing things that weren't attached to their phone. I think that would be nice. But we're all guilty of it. And we've got to work extra hard as a group of people to make sure we stay present because time just moves so fast. Especially it feels like in your 20s, it feels like it just is, going so fast. So spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, have a good time, and don't take everything too seriously, I think.
Incredible words, well put. But do spend a couple of minutes listening to Nothing Ever Grows. Take some time out, stop, and go listen to that because that is your latest single and it is available now, streaming everywhere where all streaming things happen. And of course, as we've said before, we have the tour starting in October. London on the 9th, Cardiff, Bournemouth, Brighton, and ending in Bristol on the 13th. Get down to one of those shows, support Crooked Tongue, and just have a damn good time, particularly as winter will be closing in. So you might as well warm yourself up with some good rock music and just keep attached to your socials for the big plans going forward, the end of 2024 and into 2025. Oli, it's been an absolute pleasure to do this with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.